Imagine waking up tomorrow and finding out the entire polar ice caps, both in the Arctic and Antarctica, have completely melted overnight. What would Earth look like? Would you even recognize it? This isn't a science fiction movie or some far-off future scenario. It's a very real possibility. As global temperatures rise, the ice at the poles continues to melt at an alarming rate. But what happens if it all disappears overnight? In this video, we'll break down exactly how the Earth would change and how life as we know it would be affected. Spoiler, it's not pretty. Let's dive in. The immediate impact. If all the ice on Earth melted tomorrow, the most obvious change would be the rise in sea levels. We're talking about millions of tons of ice that would pour into the oceans. The impact on our coastlines would be devastating. Places like New York, Miami, and even cities like London or Venice would be submerged. That means entire countries could disappear underwater. Let's put this into perspective. According to scientists, if all the ice melted, sea levels could rise by about 200 feet. That's enough to flood almost every coastal city across the globe. Cities built on the ocean would vanish into the abyss, and millions of people would have to relocate. Now imagine all the places you know, beaches, resorts, fishing ports, gone. The beautiful coastlines you see in pictures, underwater. From Los Angeles to Tokyo, the coastline would completely change, leaving nothing but a massive, water-covered expanse. The world's population would be displaced in ways we can't even imagine. The climate crisis. The disappearance of the ice doesn't just change coastlines. It sends the Earth into a new kind of climate chaos. Ice plays a major role in reflecting sunlight. It's called the albedo effect. Basically, the more ice there is, the more sunlight it bounces back into space, keeping the Earth cooler. But when the ice melts, the Earth's surface becomes darker, absorbing more heat. This means temperatures would skyrocket, and our planet would heat up even faster. This could trigger global heat waves that would devastate ecosystems and make certain regions uninhabitable. Without ice, the Earth would warm up by several degrees in just a few years. You'd experience scorching heat in places that are typically mild. Cities like Paris, New York, and Sydney could become almost impossible to live in, with temperatures reaching unbearable levels. Just think about it. Deserts would expand, and once fertile areas would turn into barren wastelands. Rising ocean temperatures and ocean life. With the ice gone, the oceans would not only rise but also warm up. This could destroy marine life on a scale we've never seen before. The oceans currently help regulate the Earth's temperature, but with the ice melted, the heat absorption would change dramatically. Coral reefs, which rely on cooler waters, would die off, wiping out entire ecosystems. Fish populations would also be affected. Many species rely on colder waters to thrive, and without ice to keep things cool, they'd struggle to survive. The food chain would be thrown into disarray. Fishing industries across the world would collapse, and entire coastal economies built on seafood would face extinction. The disappearance of the ice sheets. Now, we dive into what would happen to the polar regions themselves. The Arctic and Antarctic are home to much more than just ice. They are crucial to the Earth's systems. The ice sheets in Antarctica contain around 60% of Earth's fresh water. When these melt, the fresh water doesn't just vanish. It mixes with salty seawater, disrupting ocean currents that regulate the Earth's climate. These currents, like the Gulf Stream, are responsible for the distribution of heat around the planet. If these currents are disrupted, it could cause extreme weather patterns like more frequent hurricanes, droughts, and even another ice age in certain areas. Regions like Europe and North America could experience brutal cold snaps, while other places like Africa and Australia could become even hotter. The end of biodiversity. The ice melting wouldn't just affect the weather, it would affect the entire food chain. Polar bears, penguins, and countless other species rely on ice for survival. When their habitats disappear, they face extinction, and it doesn't stop there. When animals like these disappear, it throws off the entire ecosystem. Take polar bears as an example. These apex predators depend on sea ice to hunt for seals. Without ice, they can't hunt. They starve. And when species at the top of the food chain are wiped out, It creates a ripple effect that impacts all the other species below them. The oceans, which are already